Hello, everyone. This is JD Calderon, and this is Indie Comics Explained. And yet today I brought on another fantastic guest. But before we get to him, please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, and go check out the Oswald Chronicles currently on Indiegogo. The links will be in the description below. And without further ado, here's John Cebollero.
Howdy.
How you doing, John?
Hello, people.
Now, John,
Yes.
you're an incredible artist. Now, let's talk about your time at. Well, actually, let's go into this. So you wanted to you were at the School of Art Design, right? High School of Art Design, right?
Yeah, I went to our High School of Art and Design.
Now I know you met some people there now that were also in the industry, and I find that very interesting because my wife also went to that school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Daphne, she also went to that school.
Cool.
And in her class came out a number of artists who have gone on to have our careers and that sort of thing. I mean, have you experienced that same thing? Were there many people in your class you feel have moved on to doing professional art?
There were a couple. Let's see. My friend Jose Marzan Jr. He
Mhm.
was already actually. I think he started doing inking backgrounds. We were
Mhm.
still in high school, and I think he already got his foot in the door. And then there was Don Hudson, who became an inker, and then there was Rodney Ramos.
Okay.
And the fabulous Rodney Ramos got into the industry as well. So
Mhm.
yeah, a few people. I mean, there were other artists that I didn't know
Mhm.
at the time. We weren't even there at the same during the same time period who went on to become comic book artists like I think Joe Jusko
Right.
and Jimmy Palmiotti
Mhm.
and Mark Texiera.
Wow.
So there's a few people there who made a nice name for themselves, and they're still working in the
Right.
comic book industry. So
Mhm. Now, your early career
yeah,
in comics. Let's talk about that a little bit because I know you started off at Valiant, but how did that start off? How did you get that rolling?
actually, a guy I went to high school with, a guy named Kingman Huey, was he had just gotten, I believe he had just started working at Valiant. This is when they started off with Nintendo comics. I guess they had the licensing to do those
Mhm.
characters. And I was looking for work. It was like it was 1990, and I had a job. I was looking for work, and it was like a toss up between being a telephone repairman or becoming a colorist at a new comic book company, Valiant. And I actually wanted the telephone repairman job, but that didn't come through. So I
Mhm.
went up to Valiant. I remember I went up there. I did a test piece. I did some coloring sample, and I got hired. It was Jim Shooter was running it at the time. I took a long time. I took too long. I wasn't a very fast colorist, but I got the gig, and I was there for a couple of years. I met Joe Quesada there,
Nice.
and a bunch of other cool people.
That's cool. Now, what books did you color though?
Oh well, let's see. I did Mario Brothers. What's the other? Legend of Zelda, stuff
Mhm.
like that. And
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, so you never got on the mainline books like Ninjak or.
no, I did when those kicked in later when Casada changed gears to become a penciler.
Mhm.
I mean, we were good friends, and he, kind of helped me get the gig of coloring him, which was a lot of fun. It was great.
Mhm.
So I got to color Ninjak, later on when they started doing
Mhm.
things that were like less video game oriented and more comic book oriented characters. So
Right.
I also did I colored Exo Man of War
Mhm.
when he was. I did when he was there. I did a lot of the stuff that he was working on, so that was cool.
That's cool. Now, what was it like working with Jim Shooter? Because we hear a lot of stories.
Yeah, I heard a lot of stories too. He was cool with me. I mean, he was, he was very supportive and optimistic. And I mean, I was a colorist. I didn't work in administration or an editor, so that's where my perspective is coming from. But he was cool. I mean, I remember that about him. That ain't no lie. He was always good. He was cool.
Okay, well that's always good to know.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, all right now. See, and you must have worked with various artists other than Joe and whomever. You probably worked with a nice field of artists over there. Now, did you ever get any feedback from the pencilers or inkers, as to what you should do, shouldn't do, so on and so forth over there?
In terms of the coloring,
Yeah.
no, I was pretty. I was told to work on my speed. was
Okay.
that I remember Jim Shooter coming by, and he said, "Yeah, actually, that's something that pissed me off."
Mm.
I was coloring, and he goes, "You still working on that page?" I goes, "Yeah." What he said? My God, you're glacial. And I was like, "Yeah, thanks for nothing." But
Uh,
whatever. It was, But no, I didn't get too many pointers or like guidance or don't do that. I mean, I guess there's so much going on. As long as you don't like butcher it, they can't keep an eye. They can't micromanage everybody.
right.
And I don't know. I don't know. I seemed to be turning on work that they were happy with. So
Mm.
I wasn't called out on anything. So.
Now, um, now, were you working on the actual boards, or you were working on like copies and?
I was working on copies. That was the valiant way, which was they would take the artwork, scan it onto, not scan it, they would basically Xerox copy it onto kind of like a thin, but like drawing paper or like watercolor paper.
Mhm.
And then they would mount it, dry mount it on a board, and then I'd paint on top of that with Dr. Martin's watercolor dyes.
Mhm.
So, yeah, they were hand colored. I mean, later on they got into computer coloring like everybody else, but I think that's what made them special for a while, because a lot of companies weren't. I mean, I guess there was some blue line stuff, but this wasn't blue line work. It was directly on, well, the copies,
Right.
and which was nice because you got the artwork back to sell. And there was at the time there was a market for it, so I got the color. I got to keep the color pages.
Oh,
So
that's cool. Do you still have any, or did you sell them all off?
I sold some off, and when they really hit rock bottom, I threw some out.
God, that's terrible.
I don't know. It's like it's like,
Wow. Yeah,
and
that's
there wasn't
nice.
that many. It wasn't like I had like, oh, here's the Exo Man of War Zero book. Let me just where's
Right.
the dumpster? It wasn't like that. It was.
Okay.
I mean, I sold quite a bit of stuff, and it's actually, I mean, back then, dude, stuff was people were spending lots of money on stuff. I mean, as a colorist, I was doing well. They
Mm.
also we were getting royalties as colorists,
Oh, that's nice.
and I'd get. I mean, people heard this is like it's ridiculous. They're giving you guys this money. I was like, yeah, it's ridiculous. I'm getting money to for my work. Um, yeah, I would get. Well, I got like a few $1,000 or something like that.
Mm.
As
Now,
it was a royalty.
now was
Imagine what
that
the penciler, inker, and writer got.
right? Now was that per issue, or was that a quarterly?
No, it's per issue.
Per issue, nice. Okay, so that was an extra. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
nice
it
little bump.
was. Yeah, it was. It's funny you do that stuff, and you're like, I was really naive. I'm like, oh great, this will go on forever, and it'll just make more and more money. But there was the
Mm.
downturn in the market, and stuff that people were chomping at the bit for. Suddenly, the interest wasn't there. So,
Mm. Right. Were you there for the end?
um, no, I was. I left before then.
Mm.
Um, Yeah, I got after. I guess shortly after Joe left, I moved on. I mean, I didn't want to be a colorist. What it was is that they were getting into computer coloring, and they were
Right.
talking about, oh, you should buy a Mac and Photoshop, and then you could do it on computer. I'm like, I don't know. That's like telling me to buy an expensive electric mop. It's like that's not the direction I want to go. So I
Mhm.
decided to try to, get into doing more of the artwork myself. I mean, I was always an artist, but I guess felt I wasn't ready yet, and so I started. That's when I tried to learn how to paint.
Mhm.
I talked to. I would see different artists. I go to gallery shows and talk to the artists. I became friends with Ray Lago,
Yeah.
artist Ray Lago, and I talked to him about because I wanted to try watercolors initially because
Mhm.
I was working with the Dr. Martin dyes.
Right.
I was thinking, oh, that's like watercolor, but it's like, no, it's not the same. So I decided to try acrylics, and that was a bit of a struggle, and it went back and forth. But I eventually got the hang of that, and I started actually getting work, doing painting work, doing illustration work with paint. So that was a good move, and that's how I got into. Well, like I said, I was a colorist. I was a colorist up at Tops as well, but then that transitioned into Illustrator.
Mhm.
And then I did some. It's funny because a few places I was a colorist first, and then I went back and I started doing actual art. And yeah, another place was Milestone Comics, where I got to paint a couple of covers. I painted over other artists' renderings with
Right.
pencil drawings, and then I painted over that, which was I got to do like three covers that way. So it
Mhm.
was nice.
You remember what issue, what books they were for?
Mm, no, hold on, let me think. One was an icon cover. What was the other ones? Cobalt,
Okay.
and I can't remember. One had like a team of characters on. I can't remember that one.
It's not hardwired. No.
No.
Yeah, I don't remember. They had a few books.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's cool though. But
Yeah.
you also worked on some mainline DC books.
Yeah. I worked. I started. I I I, I was an inker.
Mhm.
And then I started, I worked on some of the big books for Paradox Press.
Right.
And then I started inking over all the artists. Inked over Marshall Rogers
Mhm.
and Jim Aparo. Inked over one of his stories. And
Right.
I got to illustrate a couple of Batman covers, which was a nice gig.
Mhm.
So, but it's fun. I was looking at some of the stuff I did with Marshall Rogers, who was a nice guy. I mean,
Mhm.
I think I met him once. He used to send me notes and stuff on little post-its with the pages. It was always
Right.
nice.
Mhm.
And it's funny because I was looking at the one of the covers that I inked over him, and I know, and I remember that he signed his name differently than the way I did.
Mhm.
But on a couple of covers, he copied the way I signed my name. Like he used the same kind of lettering, which I thought
Mhm.
was kind of funny, which I was honored because he was kind of, like, oh, let's do this together. So
Right.
let me render this. We'll
Mhm.
use the same lettering approach, so which was kind of funny.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, how many Batman covers did you illustrate?
Was it 3 or 4?
Mhm.
I did, but yeah, I did a lot of inking. I mean, those were done by me, but I did a lot of
Right.
inking over Marshall.
Mhm.
Uh, and I did Green Lantern stories and uh, what's the series? I did one story where it's like it's one of the comics where it's an alternate universe of
Elseworlds.
right. I did an Elseworld with a young guy who thought he was Batman, that kind of stuff with the Marshall. And I remember liking the cover so much. I was like, why don't I get to keep this? But yeah, it was a lot of
Right.
fun and going up to DC. I was friends with editor Andy Helfer. We were good friends, and yeah, going up to the office. It was a different world then.
Now, what was so different about it then than now?
Well, it was pre 9/11,
Right.
all the security, and just walk,
Mm.
and there's no checkpoints, and it was just he would smoke in his office. Like, oh, and he's got the door closed. I was like, dude, I don't know if you're supposed to do this. Oh, just close the door. Yeah, it was just more relaxed, I guess. Things are
Right.
more, I don't know, regimented now, or
Mm.
keep an eye on everybody.
Yeah, I don't know why they would need all those checkpoints. It's not like they flew an airplane into a comic book company or
I
into a
know.
like that guys try to break into a comic company.
Yeah, it's funny. I was up there once. I went to the talking about people trying to steal things. I
Mm.
was up at DC, and I went to the copy room,
Mm.
uh, and I look on. There's a shelf, like a graded shelf,
Mm.
and the entire issue of House on the Borderland by Richard Corbin's on the shelf.
Mm. Okay.
Like all the original artwork. And I'm like, I picked it up and I started thumbing through it. I'm like, I wonder if I could walk out the door with this. But it was crazy. The work was beautiful. It was, it was the black and white original pen and ink stuff. And I remember it was so kind of, like dynamic and striking. And I was like, wow, it's all right here.
Mm.
So I didn't steal it though, but I did think. In
Listen,
a goofy fanboy kind of way.
right. I look at it like this: you can think about it as long as you don't work, as long as you don't live out that fantasy. You're
Right.
okay.
I don't act.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. I remember going to see. I saw a Dr. Seuss exhibit in Manhattan years ago
Mm.
in the '90s, and I remember looking at the frame on the wall with a piece, and I was like, I don't think that's attached to the wall.
I can just walk out with that one.
Yeah,
Uh,
but yeah, DC was it was cool.
no, that's cool. Now, you mentioned Richard Corbin, and I know he is someone you know.
Yeah,
So like, what influences he had on you and your work?
well, he's had a tremendous influence. He was one of my when I was a teenager, and even before then, I would buy. I was into creepy and eerie comics, Warren Publications, and he was one of the artists that I learned to love his work, and I just started. When you get into something and you start collecting and you want to try to get everything the person ever worked on. So I kind of became obsessed with his work, and started compiling a collection, going to comic book shops and ordering stuff. And I mean, there was no internet at the time, so I used to have to go down into the city or find a couple of comic book shops here in Queens, and it was always a collection. I'd see what else he was coming up with. So I studied his work, and like the beginning, a lot of my work looked like his. I think that's what happens when you first start trying to strike out on your own. You study other people's work, and your own work, clearly their impact is seen in your work, because you're kind of taken from their aesthetic and you're kind of absorbing it, and then you're reproducing it. But over time, I mean, that's how styles develop. You see something, everything you do is a copy of someone else's when you start. But as time goes by, you start inserting your own things, and I'll add this, or I'll distort this, or I'll do this a different way. And hopefully over time you get something that's very distinctive. So he was a really big influence on me. Also, Mad Magazine I was into. That was influence. Then heavy metal came out. I found an issue of heavy metal. I think it was 1979, 1980 in middle school. And I was like, what's this? This isn't superheroes. It was so kind of adult, and I got into that. And his work, he also obviously he showed up in there as well. He did work for a heavy metal magazine, so I kind of followed that kind of progression of different artists, and some of the European guys, and Mobius, and also Jeff Jones, and got into Bernie Wrightson a bit, and
Mhm.
all those guys. And then underground comic artists like Robert Crumb and Vaughn Bodie, and I throw them all in, but Corey up there, you know.
No, no, I got you, man. Yeah, no, there's a lot of fantastic artists. I mean, that's why Richard Corbin for me is just like he hasn't done. Dark Horse hasn't announced anything recently, but I think he just recently released a graphic novel about a year ago. So, I mean, just the fact that he's got to be in his 70s and he's still producing work.
Yeah, this year he's going to be 80, I think.
Really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, he's still churning it out.
Yeah, man. I mean, and it still looks great. He's coloring on a computer.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah, raised his game.
Exactly.
I know. He was started in the '60s, and he's still publishing.
Yeah. Which is great.
Yeah.
So let's move on, because you also done work over at Tops.
Yes.
Right.
I was a colorist. My friend Kamal Ahmed of the Jerky Boys. I went to high school with him, and he knew a guy who worked over at Tops.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of, suggested I go over there, and he kind of called up his friend, a guy named Sean Taggart. He was working there at the time. And, because I knew Kamal, he told me to come by and show him some of my work, and I got to do some coloring. I worked for, I did mostly the Star Wars Galaxy card sets.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a lot of fun. I mean, I loved Star Wars when I was younger. It was like a religion to me. So to actually work on something that was connected to it was, fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
now,
yeah.
Was this what is this? Was this episodes 1, 2, 3, or was this 4, 5, and 6?
No, 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3. Okay.
Yeah. This was before those movies came out.
Mm-hmm.
So I could be proud of this work.
It's a lot of Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader.
Yeah, I did Boba Fett and the Emperor. Yeah, what's his name?
Palpatine.
I colored, Palpatine by what's his name? Drew Friedman.
Oh, okay, wow.
I colored his Palpatine.
Mm-hmm.
But I got, it was great. It was a lot of, it was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's cool. Now, when you but then you transitioned over into becoming an illustrator, not just a colorist. Now, how did that work out?
Well, as I learned to paint, I hit up Tops again. I told them, hey, guess what? Now I'm a painter. Now you can use me as a painter, an illustrator. So they were starting, they threw me, I think it was one illustration gig for a new card set called Bathroom Buddies, which a lot of people don't remember, and for good reason. It didn't really take off.
Right.
Listen, they try. Companies, if you don't try something, you'll never know what sticks. So I worked on that. I did 5 or 6 illustrations for them, and then that didn't go so well. But it helped get me in the door in terms of like establishing me as a, like an artist in their stable, or someone they could reach out to. And I was offered some Garbage Pail Kids stuff.
Right.
and that's how I got into. I think I got first time I was given one card, and then next issue I was given more, and so they kept over the years. They gave me more and more and more, and then it was it's I really didn't realize the cultural impact of the card set till I started working on them. I heard of them, but I didn't know the cultural impact. And it wasn't until I became an artist, a Garbage Pail Kids artist, that I realized that I had become part of a kind of cultural phenomenon for a lot of people. And it was interesting. I mean, it's like I didn't know this was so popular. In fact, my kids, I used to go to their school for career day,
Right.
and I'd bring my art, and I bring the Garbage Pail Kid stuff,
Mm.
and I'd go in, I'd say, because they had different parents come in, they introduce themselves, and I'd come in and I'd go in, and I go, "Hi, my name is John Cebollero," and then I'd say, "Does anyone know what an astronaut is?" "Oh my God, you're an astronaut!" "No, oh, I'm an artist." So I'd show them stuff, and it's funny because the teachers were more jazzed about it than the kids were. Like they remember them, and like,
Right.
"Oh my God, you did Garbage Pail Kids stuff, art?" I go, "Yeah, yeah." "Oh, can I get a card? Can you sign a card for me?" And it's like, wow, it was very funny. So that was another kind of interesting thing to see happen, that these adults, this was part of it, and it was a cherished part. They were kind of very, they were, it's very nostalgic, and they become like kids. So that was nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Now you did. I mean, the only other thing that I think I know that you did is a cover for Boom Studios. How did that? Like, how did you even get that gig?
I think it was during Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
I went to dinner with a bunch of people at the end of the one evening, and Mark Wade
Okay.
sitting across from me. I know,
Mm.
I know him, like we're friendly. I mean, I don't know him that well, but he knows me and I know him. And he goes, and I think I threw out like as a joke, "Oh, do you have any work?" And he said, they have this title, Tales of Cthulhu. I believe that's the title.
Mm.
And he goes, "You can do a cover if you want to." I go, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, but it only pays $150.
Mm.
I go, "But it's a cover?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "I'll take it."
Uh-huh.
I wanted a cover, and I got a cover. And it's funny because I had a very small understanding, or very little understanding, of the work of H.P. Lovecraft. I really had I had some idea of characters, but it was very ambiguous. My knowledge of them was just like names. I couldn't connect them. I couldn't give you a storyline or anything. I couldn't tell you what they were part of, or what narrative it was all attached to. And I got a cover, and I went online to see kind of people's take on Cthulhu.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I can do this, this, and this, and and like I said, I didn't have like a real kind of understanding of that whole world. But I did a little research, and I said, oh, this would be cool, and I'll put flies around it so it looks like it's you get the impression that it's this stench.
Right.
And, I got the cover printed. I was, oh, it's cool. I had my friend, had a friend colored for me, Mike Cavallero.
Mm.
She did a fantastic job, and it was on the cover, and it was nice and bright. And I was like, oh, this is cool. And so maybe I'll try to sell the cover. I got the cover art, and I was like, maybe I could sell the cover. I could get a couple of $100,
Right.
$200. was like, I put it on eBay. I think I got like $700 for it, which I was shocked. I was like,
Uh,
$700 for this? I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna look into. So I got into H.P. Lovecraft, and I did more research, and I get some audiobooks. I listened to some stories, and I really got into it. And it's there's a lot of there to mine in terms of imagery, and it's horror, which I've always liked, and it's been very it's a very also it too is more popular than I could possibly have. Like I said, I've heard of Lovecraft, but I didn't realize how popular he was. And go online and this and then you see people all over the world have websites, merchandise, sculptures, and they're writing fiction, fan fiction, and it's like I had no idea it ran that deep. So I did a bunch of pieces over the years. I still do, drawings and things, and this stuff is very popular. And well, I have a couple of things on like Redbubble, and the Cthulhu stuff is more than anything else, which is nice. That imagery is very popular. So I found something that is that I have an interest in, but it also has a very kind of a strong market. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Now let's just talk about your art, because
Yes.
I mean, you have a style that's all your own. It's very unique.
Thank you.
It's a beautiful style. So what is it that drives you, that motivates you? Like, what are you looking to achieve?
First of all, thank you. It's well, I'm always trying to look. I try to represent things. I want to make things look interesting and appealing. You also want to get some, like, imbue feelings into things, or represent things. I think a lot of artists are compelled by things they don't see other people doing. They want to illustrate ideas that they think they see missing in the world of imagery and art and storytelling. And they're like, what would be cool if we did this? If I never saw anyone do this before. So I'm driven to do things that, first of all, they interest me, but I want them, other people, to find it compelling in a way. I make things a little strange. I've my style has evolved over the years, and I've added a few things. Like Corbin was a big fan, but I've also, some Mobius, and there's Art Nouveau. I put on a lot of that in my work, but it's not formal Art Nouveau, but it's kind of from that kind of mindset of organic form. And I like things to have, though they might be unusual, they seem organic and natural for what they are, And I try not to fix things. I'm not trying to make the most beautiful woman in the world. If I draw a female figure, I'm not trying to make the most handsome guy in the world. I'm not trying to fix people. I think what makes people unique and interesting are the things that are, you don't see all the time. And I think it gives characters character. Like I've said before, like if I did, let's say, a female figure,
right,
and I made her beautiful, it'd be, oh, that's great. That's it. The point is that it's attractive. But if you make them a little off, suddenly people are, what is this? Why is suddenly you're trying to figure out why things are off. And that kind of brings people into the work a little, rather than okay, well, this is what this is supposed to be. I like it, and this is what it's supposed to be. If you do something a little off, then it's like, that's you catch them in a different way, which isn't so. It's I guess it's slightly more challenging to throw people a curveball than to kind of lob them a ball artistically, So
Okay, well, that's cool. I mean, yeah, I mean that explains a lot about your work.
thanks. Yeah.
'Cause,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I mean,
Well, listen, I'm always trying to improve. I look at other people's work all the time. I'm always saving people's work and, oh, this is cool. This color combination is great. Oh, look at the way this looks here. And, that's not like, oh, I'm the greatest artist. I don't have to look at anything. I've learned everything, which is something I didn't know, when I was coming up, that you never stop learning.
Right.
It's not like, I'm Frank Frazetta. I never have to look at anything ever again. You know, evolving. He was evolving as an artist, and that's an important thing. And that's what makes it interesting. Because if you're going to just kind of keep repeating the same thing over and over again, you kind of, I don't know. Maybe some people, I guess there are different types of artists, and some people find a nice comfort zone. And I don't know. I like to keep moving and trying different things. Some things are successful. Some things people don't get. It's like, this is really strange. People like, what was a guy said to me, I'm not going to go in comics. He's like, you should do, what do you say? You should do a Catwoman in your strange style. I'm like, oh, thanks. Those weird women you do, you should do it like that. I'm like, yeah, that's a great idea. Thanks. But
did you ever do it?
I've done, not based on that, his endorsement, his, the way he framed it. Oh, in my strange way. Like, I do it the way I don't see my things as really, I don't see it as being strange, that's the thing, is that if you do certain things a certain way, I mean, I think all the characters I do are attractive in their own way to me.
Right.
And I don't do them. It's not like, oh, this person could be beautiful, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do it this way and give them the nose, a really big nose. It's not like that. It's like, there's something oddly alluring about this. That's what I go for. Something you can't even put your finger on it, but it's appealing, and you don't know why, and you might even feel embarrassed about liking it because it's so off the wall. That's what I'm going for.
Gotcha. No, that's actually really cool. I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've been at this for a little bit, so
yes,
we're almost at the end, but we're not there just yet. We're close though. So
okay.
I got a few more questions for you.
Sure.
So the first one being, is there anything you wanted to discuss, or maybe a question that you wanted to be asked that I didn't ask you? Is there anything you want to talk about additionally?
Okay. Besides why I'm so fabulous.
Yes. We've already established that baseline. You are fabulous.
Okay. My list. No, that you covered some good stuff there. I mean, I mean, I would like to get into. Actually, I would like to get some of my work done in like maybe like 3D printing stuff. I actually found an artist on Instagram who does little 3D figures, but really tight ones. Like sometimes you see 3D printed, looks like, it has the threads going around everything.
Right.
Like you can see like where the string of the material is being poured on, so it's not smooth.
Right.
But he uses this machine that makes it like really kind of one of these printers that it's very accurate and very detailed. So it's not like you have to sand everything to get something smooth. And I was discussing with him a possibility of him rendering and printing a figure, because I always wanted, I think a lot of artists, the next one of the next moves is like, okay, I have these characters, and wouldn't it be cool to have figures of them,
Mm-hmm.
like either vinyl or even like the little printed. Oh, listen, I sculpt, but I
Right.
just, I don't know, I never got that incredibly comfortable with it. But that's something I would be really interested in pursuing. And
Mm-hmm.
just even if I get one made or something like that,
Right.
just so I can, there's that feather in the cap.
Right. Right.
And
But I've seen your sculptures, man. They are incredible looking. So I don't know.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I love sculpting. It's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest one of the things that hangs me up is that I want to reproduce things. I want to have them molded and casted.
Right.
But it's expensive and it's hard to find somebody who wants to do that. So, I mean,
Right.
I guess if I put in the legwork, I can find people. But I don't know. I just have a few things going on right now. That's kind of lower down on the list of things to do. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these are things I'd be interested in doing,
Gotcha.
and doing a comic story, which
Ah.
I'm trying to. I'm actually piecing together a short story to
Mm-hmm.
pitch to a publisher, just 3 pages. But when you're as rusty as I am, it takes a while to get
Mm-hmm.
something like that together. But I do want to get into telling stories because I know I'm at an age where I want to get a message across or something.
Gotcha.
You're a writer. You know how it is. You wanna
Oh yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
wanna
Constantly
wanna
pushing the work.
take people places.
Yes.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and you do a great job.
I try. I try.
So, so
Um.
I
All
might
right.
hit you up for some tips.
You know I'm here for you, brother.
I know.
All right. So now, like I said, we're coming close. So now we're gonna start on all my goofy questions.
Go ahead.
So first, all right, from either company or either Marvel or DC or any of the other companies, is there like a book or a character that you'd like to do a cover for that you never got a chance to, or you haven't had a chance to yet?
Let's see. I don't know. I wouldn't mind doing another Batman.
Mm,
I mean, that's like, I guess out of all the characters, or maybe Hulk would be kind of cool.
mm.
Yeah.
Hulk or Batman?
Yeah.
Uh, all right. Well, no, that's cool. That's cool. Now, doesn't really apply to you. So,
Oh,
yeah, because it's like if you're okay, yeah, I combine the questions.
go
So I'm
ahead.
wondering, I'm freaking out. I'm like, I have a second question. I'm like, oh, I combined the two questions, so it didn't matter.
Okay.
All right. So look, so I got some comparatives for you, right?
All right.
And so we'll see how these work out. I'll softball you, all right,
Okay.
at first, and then we'll work it way in.
All
So
right.
Captain America or Batman?
Well, Batman.
Got you. Godzilla or Gamera?
Gamera, that's the turtle, right?
Yeah.
I might like Gamera. I think Godzilla might be a little played out for me.
Mhm. Okay. Okay. Bernie Wrightson or Barry Windsor Smith?
Oh, that's easy. Burning Rights.
Okay. Okay. Now, why do you consider that easy?
I met both of them.
You're the second person. That's funny.
I met Bernie at a convention, and I met Barry at a Valiant. Listen, I'm into horror. He did stuff for Warren Comics, so I have that kind of uh, affection for that type of work, the horror and stuff.
Mm,
Uh, he made a better impression on me.
right. Gotcha.
He didn't roll his eyes at me.
Uh-huh. Gotcha. Yeah, I had another guest on, and I asked him the same question.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh yeah, that's easy." He said, "Bernie," and I was like, "Why?" And he was like, "Because I worked with Barry."
Right.
I was like, "Okay,
Okay. So there's a consensus there.
there's a consensus."
Listen,
Yeah.
I listen. Maybe it was the day. Let me be fair.
Mhm.
He's a very talented guy,
Yes.
but knee jerk. Listen. I'm a bigger fan of Bernie's work.
Mhm. That's fair. That's very very fair. Um, Kirk or Picard?
Oh, I guess I'd have to say Kirk. I started watching the original series. I mean, we stopped, but we watched most of it,
Mhm.
and it wasn't as good as I remembered it when I was younger. It's better,
Oh, okay.
the original series. I'm like, I can't believe I missed out on some of this stuff. I was so interested in the monsters and the aliens and the ships and the fighting that I miss a lot of the nuance of the relationships, and even some of the story plots went over my head.
Right.
And some episodes, I was like, oh, a bunch of old men. I don't want to see this one. And I
Mhm.
watch, I'm like, oh my God, this is a great episode.
Right.
So yeah, I don't have that much of a history or that experience, that much watching The Next Generation. Even though I
Mhm.
remember liking it pretty good, but it's not, I've known, the original series, TOS since I was a kid. So
Mhm.
I also have seen all the major cast members in person before most of them died. So, which was kind of cool.
Mhm. That's cool. Um, Stan Lee or Jack Kirby?
Um, I saw both in person.
Mhm.
I saw Stanley. This was years ago when DC used to have. I mean, long time ago, they had like company picnics,
Right.
and there was like almost like an amusement park or like some kind of recreation park in Jersey, and they took us there. And Stanley's walking around. I mean, I've never met the guy, but I'm walking past, and he walks past me. He goes, "Where you going? Are you leaving already?" I go, "No, no." He goes, "I'm only kidding." And he pats me on the shoulder. I was like, "Wow, he really is. He's really that guy,
Uh,
like a character. He was like a sweetheart." So, um, Jack Kirby. I saw him in San Diego. He
mhm.
was with a bunch of people standing around him like he was a prophet. And a friend of mine said, "You want me to introduce you to him?"
Mhm.
And I go, "Nah." I guess I should have said yes.
Uh,
Because it's okay. He won't remember who you are either.
uh-huh.
So, but I guess Stanley. I mean, if I have to, I mean,
Mhm.
no offense. I mean, they both have their great qualities. So,
No, of course, of course. Like I said, it's one of those things. It's comparative, so it
okay,
doesn't.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
There is no right or wrong answer.
yeah,
Wally Wood or Al Williamson?
a Bollywood.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool. Now, Lord of the Rings or Star Wars?
Lord of the Rings or Star Wars. Well, I guess I would have to say Lord of the Rings because Star Wars just like ran itself off a cliff. Lord of the Rings had a beginning and an end, and we kind of wrapped itself up. It didn't overstay its welcome the way a lot of Star Wars did.
Right.
But I guess I love Star Wars. I love the first three movies, and
Mhm.
I mean I guess you have that, but like you said, it's just a question. Um, say Star Wars.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. All right, well, we've done a few of these, so we'll wrap it up on this next one. Uh,
Right.
H.P. Lovecraft or Poe?
Okay. Um, this is it. I don't know. I like H.P. Lovecraft a lot. His writing's interesting. I've read some Poe, but not enough to get a feel for his writing style. But Poe wasn't like a horrible racist. anti-Semite like the way Lovecraft was, so I'm a little
Right.
more comfortable liking Poe.
Uh,
So
although what's funny is he did marry a Jewish woman.
I know. Well, he was.
The man was very conflicted.
Yeah. Well, listen. That's the thing about people who are. They have issues. They don't make a lot of them don't make sense, or they don't know,
Mhm.
they don't know what the hell they're doing. They just shoot their mouths off. But
Right.
anyway, um, yeah. I guess we're talking about their work or them, the people themselves.
That's entirely up to you. You know, that's why it's comparative. They like, it's funny when I ask like a question like Captain America or Batman, right?
Right.
It's funny because I've seen different people posit it differently. Some people think about the comics and they're like, well, I feel Batman has had better stories, right?
Right.
And then you have some people say, well, I think Captain America has better art,
Right.
right? And then I've had other people say, well, I think Captain America could beat Batman in a fight, right?
Right.
And then you have some people say, well, but I like Captain America better in the movies.
Right.
So it's just really funny to see. This is why I ask these questions, because it's funny to see where people come from.
Yeah, you want to see them work the process by which they come to their conclusion.
Exactly.
Kind of
exactly.
going, well, what about this? But this is good. But no.
Right.
Yeah. Ho.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. All right. So John, we made it to the end. So
Yeah.
hey, so do me a favor. Let everybody know where they can find you
Yes.
and your work and you know
Okay.
everything you're doing.
All right. Is johncebollero.com. You can try that. John, John, Cebollero, C as in cat. No, I just shouldn't say it like that. Cebollero. That's Cebollero, John, John.com. And then I'm on Facebook. I have an artist fan page. I have an Instagram, artist John Cebollero, same last name spelling as I gave earlier. Yeah, people are, I don't know, Instagram seems to be the thing a lot of people go to when they want to see your work nowadays, but it's also good to keep a website.
Yeah.
Because, you know, your work is not, you don't have to scroll through tons of things to get to it. It's all there. So, a website.
All right.
I actually have links in my website to some of those other locations. So,
Okay. So there you go. Go check out John's work. It's fantastic. Check out really his Cthulhu stuff is incredible. So thank you so much, everybody. I'll be talking to you all soon. Go check it. Please share, like, subscribe, share out the link. I'll be talking to you all soon. And have a good one. And take care.